Ladies and gentlemen, all right. Ladies, listen up. I know some of you are thinking, what's the harm in sharing everything with the man in my life? Well, I'm here to tell you that there are a few things you should keep under wraps. It's not about playing games. It's about preserving your relationship, keeping the balance, and making sure that he respects you and values what you bring to the table. So let me ask you, what would you do if I told you that one small thing you say could change the dynamic between you and the man you're with? Or worse, make him pull away and start questioning everything. You need to hear this because there are 5 things you should never tell a man. These are the secrets that can either make or break the connection you share. If you want to keep him interested, engaged, and invested in you, you're going to need to understand these boundaries. Now, stay with me because I'm about to drop some truth bombs. Trust me, this is not something you want to miss. Keep listening. What you're about to hear might just save you from unnecessary drama and make your relationship stronger than ever. Let's start with the first thing you should never tell a man: your past relationships and everything that went wrong in them. Now, I know it might seem innocent, and you might feel the need to explain why things didn't work out with your exes, but trust me, that is a territory you don't want to dive into. I know it might be tempting to share those experiences to give him a sense of who you are or what you've been through, but here's the truth. It's not going to help you. The reality is, when you talk about your past relationships too much, especially the negative parts, it can create insecurity in the present. Why? Because even though you might think you're just explaining your past to him, it can feel like you're comparing him to someone else. Every time you bring up an ex, even casually, you open the door for him to feel like he's just another one of your exes. And that's not a place you want to go. No one wants to feel like they're competing with the ghost of somebody who's long gone. Now, let's be real here. Everyone has a past, but when you constantly bring it up, it makes him think you're not really over it. And let's face it, no man wants to feel like they have to live up to some perfect image of a former partner. He's trying to carve out his own space in your life. And when you keep bringing up your exes, you're not giving him a chance to do that. Moreover, if you're constantly venting about your exes or focusing on the bad experiences you've had, it can make him feel like he's walking into a storm that he didn't cause. That negativity can build walls instead of breaking them down. And what man wants to constantly deal with the baggage of someone else's heartbreak? None. It's exhausting, and it'll wear him down faster than you realize. I get it. Sometimes you feel like you need to explain why things didn't work out with someone else to make him understand you better. But here's the thing. Every relationship is different. The fact that your past relationships ended in certain ways doesn't mean that this new relationship is going to follow the same path. It's a clean slate. And it's important to give him the space to create his own place in your heart without being overshadowed by what happened before. Every man is different, and he deserves to be seen for who he is in the here and now, not as a replacement for someone from your past. You might think you're making him feel closer to you by sharing your past, but in reality, you're distancing him. He'll begin to feel like you're living in the past and not fully present with him. He might even start to feel like he'll never be able to measure up to the version of your past partner that you keep mentioning. And that's when the doubts creep in and trust starts to erode. He'll wonder if you're secretly wishing for your ex to come back, or if you're only with him because he's good enough for now. That's not the kind of energy you want in your relationship. Instead of focusing on your past, why not shift your energy into creating new memories with him? Share your goals, your dreams, the things that excite you about your future together. Make him feel like he's a part of something new and fresh, not something that's still haunted by old ghosts. A relationship should be about building something together, not dragging along the weight of what didn't work before. It's okay to talk about your past if it's relevant or if you've been asked. But it's important to keep the focus on the here and now. A relationship isn't about being stuck in the past or dwelling on old wounds. It's about forging a new connection that stands on its own. Every time you bring up your ex, you're denying him the chance to stand in his own light. Instead of carrying around the baggage of your past, let him be the one who gets to see you for who you are today, without the weight of past relationships on your shoulders. Remember, the more you focus on your past, the less room there is for the present to thrive. So keep the conversation about who you are now, what you're building together, and the exciting future you both are creating. By doing this, you're letting him know that you're fully invested in the relationship you're building with him and not stuck in what came before. The second thing you should never tell a man is how much you need him or rely on him emotionally in an overwhelming way. Now, listen, I know we all want to feel supported and cherished, and it's completely normal to need someone in your life who can provide emotional comfort. However, when you lay that burden on a man too heavily, too soon, it can make him feel trapped. Men, by nature, are often wired to be protectors and problem solvers. They love to help, but when it feels like you are depending on them for your entire emotional stability, it becomes too much for them to bear. It creates a pressure that they aren't prepared for. While it's okay to lean on him in tough times, there's a difference between being vulnerable and coming across as needy or desperate. Needing someone constantly can send the message that you don't have the emotional resilience to handle your own life. And let's face it, no one wants to feel like their partner is emotionally draining them. When a man feels like he's the only person keeping you from falling apart, that is going to weigh on him. It's not healthy for him, and it's not healthy for you either. Men want to feel appreciated, and they want to feel like they're making a positive impact in your life. But when they feel like your emotional well-being is hanging by a thread and they are the only one who can fix it, they might start to retreat. They'll start to feel inadequate or overwhelmed because no one wants to be the sole source of someone else's happiness. That's a lot of pressure, and pressure can cause a man to pull away, thinking that if he can't be there every second of the day to cater to your emotional needs, then he's failing you. Now, there's a difference between seeking support when you're going through a tough time and constantly relying on him to rescue you from every emotional difficulty you encounter. It's important to be independent emotionally. You should have your own coping mechanisms, your own ways to manage stress and difficult situations. A strong partner knows that while they are there to support you, they are not your emotional crutch. If you're constantly telling him how much you need him to fill an emotional void, he might start to feel like he's not enough. He might even start to feel resentful because he doesn't know how to handle the emotional load you're placing on him. It's not that he doesn't care or want to help. It's just that no one is capable of fulfilling every emotional need another person has. It's simply not realistic or fair. What a healthy relationship needs is balance. You need to be able to stand on your own 2 feet emotionally, while also being able to turn to him when you need comfort or support. It's important to maintain your own sense of independence so that when you do need him, it's in a way that feels balanced and natural, not as though you're dependent on him for survival. Men love to feel needed, but they don't want to feel like the entire foundation of your emotional well-being rests solely on their shoulders. In the long run, this kind of dynamic can lead to resentment, frustration, and even emotional exhaustion. If you're always looking to him to solve all of your emotional problems, you risk making him feel as if he's more of a therapist than a partner. That's not a healthy relationship dynamic. What he wants is to be your partner, not your emotional fixer. By maintaining emotional independence, you're not only making sure that you're taking care of yourself, but you're also allowing him to step in as your partner, not as someone responsible for fixing you. The goal is to create a partnership where both of you can lean on each other, but also have the strength and resilience to stand on your own. He will appreciate the fact that you are strong, independent, and capable of handling life's challenges, but also grateful for the times when you need his love and support. He will feel proud that he's able to support you in a way that strengthens your bond without feeling like the weight of your emotional well being as entirely on his shoulders. So, yes, it's okay to need him at times, but you don't want to make your entire emotional stability contingent upon his actions or attention. Build a foundation of emotional strength within yourself, and you'll both thrive. The third thing you should never tell a man is everything about your past relationships, especially the details that are too personal or painful. Now, look, I get it. We all come into relationships with baggage. We've had experiences that have shaped who we are, and sometimes it feels necessary to explain those experiences to our partners. But here's the truth. Men don't need to know every single detail about your past. The past is the past, and while it can offer insights into who you are, constantly bringing up past relationships can create unnecessary complications and even make your current partner feel insecure. Imagine this. You're in a relationship with a man, and you're trying to build a future together. Every time you mention your ex, whether it's how he used to treat you or the things he did for you, your man is going to start comparing himself. He will inevitably wonder if he's living up to the expectations set by your ex. This can cause unnecessary tension and insecurities that can destroy the trust and harmony you're working hard to create in your current relationship. Men, just like women, are sensitive to comparison. When they hear about how good your ex was at something, whether it was how he treated you, the gifts he gave you, or the experiences you shared, it can make them feel like they're in competition with a ghost. Even if you're not directly comparing them, that lingering connection to your past can create a sense of doubt. No one likes to feel like they are constantly measured against someone who came before them, and that's exactly what happens when the past is brought up too much. Another reason why it's best to keep the details of your past to yourself is because it gives your current relationship room to breathe. When you constantly bring up an ex, it sends the message that you're not fully over that relationship. It makes your partner feel like they're not the only one you're emotionally invested in. And that, my friends, can be dangerous. A relationship requires two people who are fully present with each other. It's about building something new and beautiful together without the shadows of past relationships hanging over it. In fact, when you constantly talk about your ex, it can make your man feel like you're not committed to building something new with him. He might begin to feel like you're emotionally unavailable or that you're living in the past, and that's not the kind of energy a healthy relationship needs. He wants to feel like he's the one you're focused on, the one who's worthy of your time and energy. When you're constantly bringing up the past, it signals that perhaps your heart is still tied to it in some way. Moreover, oversharing about your exes can also create unnecessary drama. A man doesn't want to hear about every argument, every breakup, or every flaw that your ex had. It may seem like you're simply sharing stories, but in reality, it's creating a bigger emotional distance between you and him. He might start to feel like you haven't fully moved on, and that can lead to him feeling like he's fighting for your attention or affection. This can chip away at his self-esteem, causing frustration and eventually emotional withdrawal. Now, I'm not saying that you should hide your past or lie about it. That's not the point. What I am saying is that your current partner doesn't need to be burdened with the entire history of your love life. Your past is yours, and it's okay to have a history, but your focus needs to be on building a present and future with your current partner. If your past relationships come up naturally, then fine, but don't let them dominate your conversations. Focus on the positive, uplifting aspects of your current relationship. This doesn't mean that you have to suppress your emotions or deny your past. It's about finding balance and perspective. If your past relationships still affect you in a significant way, it might be worth considering talking to someone, whether it's a therapist or a trusted friend, to help you process those emotions. But your man doesn't need to carry that emotional weight. He should be the one who makes you feel secure in your relationship, not the one who has to heal past wounds. The key to a successful relationship is mutual respect and building a foundation that's grounded in the present. So keep your past in its place, behind you. Your partner wants to build something real with you, not compete with someone who no longer plays a part in your life. When you stop dragging your past into your present, you'll find that your relationship will feel lighter, more connected, and more secure. By keeping certain things about your past to yourself, you're allowing the present to shine and giving your relationship the chance it deserves to grow without unnecessary baggage. The fourth thing you should never tell a man is your deepest insecurities. Now, I'm not saying that you should hide everything about yourself or bottle up all your feelings. We all have insecurities. It's part of being human. But when it comes to sharing those insecurities with a man, you need to be careful about how much you reveal and when. There's a certain balance you need to strike in a relationship, and letting a man see too much of your vulnerabilities, especially in the early stages of dating, can cause more harm than good. You see, when you tell a man all about your insecurities, you're opening the door for him to see you in a light that isn't very flattering. This is especially true if you're sharing insecurities that have to do with your self-esteem or body image. Men are attracted to women who are confident and comfortable in their own skin. Confidence doesn't mean you have to be perfect, but it does mean you're at peace with who you are and can carry yourself with dignity. When you constantly draw attention to your insecurities, whether it's about your appearance, your abilities, or your past experiences, it can signal to a man that you're uncertain about who you are. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't ever open up about your feelings, but when you constantly highlight your flaws or compare yourself to others, it can create a sense of imbalance in the relationship. Men, just like women, are naturally drawn to positivity and confidence. So when you keep focusing on what you perceive to be your shortcomings, it can make the man feel like he's not enough to make you feel better about yourself. This can lead to him feeling helpless or frustrated, and in some cases, he may even start to pull away. Additionally, when you reveal too much of your insecurities early on, it might put the man in an uncomfortable position. He might feel pressured to always reassure you, even when it's not something he's equipped to do. Constantly needing validation from your partner can put a strain on the relationship, as it can make them feel like they're walking on eggshells, never knowing if you're going to feel good about yourself. It can also lead to him becoming emotionally drained, especially if the insecurity becomes a recurring theme in your interactions. Furthermore, constantly talking about your insecurities can also make the man feel like you're looking for something from him that he may not be able to provide. While it's important for a partner to support you, it's also important to recognize that some of your self-worth needs to come from within. A relationship is about two people coming together as individuals who are already comfortable in their own skin. If you're always seeking reassurance about how you look or your worth, it can put pressure on your partner to fill a gap that should really come from within yourself. Now, that doesn't mean you can't share your feelings with your partner. Healthy communication is key to any strong relationship. But there's a difference between being open about your feelings and unloading every insecurity you have. If you're constantly telling him how you feel inadequate, how you think you're not good enough, or how you're constantly comparing yourself to other women, it might make him feel like he has to constantly lift you up to a place where you can feel secure. This can eventually lead to feelings of frustration and exhaustion. The truth is, everyone has insecurities. No one's perfect. But if you keep your insecurities to yourself or share them with the right support systems, you'll be in a much stronger position when it comes to building a healthy, balanced relationship. If you want to be seen as a confident, strong, and independent woman, it's important that you manage your insecurities in a way that doesn't constantly put the burden on your partner to reassure you. Instead, work on building your self-esteem and confidence from within. Remember, confidence is attractive. When you're able to acknowledge your insecurities without letting them define you, it shows emotional maturity. If you're able to express your vulnerabilities in a healthy way, without it becoming the focal point of your relationship, it will create a much more balanced and loving environment. But when you make your insecurities the main thing in your relationship, it can cause your partner to feel emotionally overwhelmed, and that's not healthy for either of you. So be cautious about sharing too much of your self-doubt and insecurities. A relationship is about growing together, and it's important that you're both coming into it as the best versions of yourselves. Work on strengthening your own self-worth and confidence so that you can bring that energy into your relationship. When you do this, your man will not only appreciate the confident woman you are, but he'll also be more likely to feel emotionally secure in the relationship, knowing that you're both able to support each other without one person carrying the emotional weight. The fifth thing you should never tell a man is your past mistakes or the regrets that haunt you. Now, I know this one might sound a bit harsh, but hear me out. We all have a past. We've all made choices that we're not proud of, things that we regret, and experiences that may not have turned out the way we wanted. And yes, it's natural to want to share pieces of your life with someone you care about. But when it comes to a man, especially early on in the relationship, revealing too much about your past mistakes can do more harm than good. The truth is, men are often more focused on the present and future rather than constantly looking back. While it's important to be open and honest in any relationship, overloading a man with details of your past mistakes, failed relationships, or regrets can cast a shadow over the present connection you're trying to build. It may even lead him to question whether you're really ready for the relationship you're currently in, or whether you're still carrying emotional baggage from the past that you haven't dealt with yet. You see, when you constantly bring up your past mistakes, you're inadvertently telling him that you're still stuck in those moments, that they still define who you are. Men are generally attracted to women who are strong, confident, and able to move forward in life. If you're continuously talking about things you wish you had done differently, or if you bring up old wounds and regrets, it can make him feel like you haven't fully healed or grown from those experiences. This can create a sense of insecurity in the relationship, as he may feel like he's only getting a fraction of who you are, rather than a woman who is emotionally available and ready to move forward with him. Now, I'm not suggesting that you need to hide your past completely. Of course, there will be times when sharing certain details about your history is necessary, especially if it impacts your present life in some way. But constantly revisiting your past mistakes, the wrong choices, or the things you wish you could change can start to feel like you're looking for validation from him or even trying to gain sympathy. And while it's okay to have moments of vulnerability, if your entire focus is on what went wrong in the past, it can prevent him from seeing the person you are now, someone who is strong, resilient, and ready to move forward. If you're always talking about your past regrets, it might also make him wonder if he's just a substitute or a rebound. Men can feel like they're only being used to fill a void that was left by someone or something else. They want to feel like they're the one who gets to make you happy, and that the connection you have is built on what's happening now, not on old stories and past mistakes. A healthy relationship thrives when both people are able to leave their past behind them and focus on building a new chapter together. But if one person is constantly stuck in the past, it can hinder the potential for a strong, flourishing relationship. When you continually bring up your past mistakes, you're also potentially damaging your self-esteem in the eyes of your partner. The more you focus on things you regret, the more you're reminding him of your flaws and vulnerabilities. Men, like women, are drawn to people who are self-assured and confident. If you keep talking about your mistakes and regrets, it can paint a picture of someone who is struggling with self-worth, someone who hasn't fully healed from the past. While empathy and compassion are important, men don't want to feel like they have to fix or rescue you from your emotional history. Furthermore, bringing up past mistakes can also cause unnecessary tension. You might be thinking you're simply being honest or open, but the truth is, it could make your partner uncomfortable. He might not know how to respond to those admissions. He could feel like he's walking on eggshells, unsure if he's doing enough to make you feel better, or he might worry that he's being compared to past experiences. This is especially true if the relationship you had before him was filled with intense emotions or unresolved issues. He doesn't want to feel like he's constantly competing with ghosts from your past. The key to avoiding this pitfall is to recognize that your past doesn't define you, and it shouldn't control your present or future. Yes, we all have things we wish we could change or mistakes we wish we could undo, but those things don't have to dictate the course of your new relationship. When you're able to focus on who you are now and what you can offer in the present, your partner will appreciate that. He'll respect your ability to grow from your experiences and move forward without constantly looking behind you. In relationships, it's important to have a clean slate, especially if you're building something new and meaningful with someone. By focusing on who you are now, what you bring to the table, and how you can grow together, you allow the relationship to flourish without the baggage of the past. Sharing your regrets too much, too soon, can stall that progress and leave both you and your partner feeling stuck. Remember, relationships are about building trust and emotional connections based on the present and future. Let your past stay in the past where it belongs. When you do this, you'll be more equipped to embrace the present moment and all the wonderful things that come with a healthy, strong relationship. The sixth thing that women should never tell a man is how much money you make or what you have financially. Now, this might sound like an odd suggestion, especially in a world where financial independence is celebrated. But there are reasons why you should keep this part of your life private, especially in the early stages of a relationship. First, let's address the fact that men, like women, value respect. When a woman constantly brings up her financial situation, especially if she's doing well, it can create a dynamic that could unintentionally make the man feel insecure. Men are often raised to be providers and protectors, and many feel a sense of pride when they are the ones who contribute to the financial stability of a relationship. When a woman is constantly talking about how much she earns or how well she's doing financially, it can make him feel like he is being measured against a standard he may not be able to meet, which can lead to feelings of inadequacy. It's essential to recognize that money isn't everything. What matters more is how both individuals can work together to create a balanced partnership where both contribute to the relationship, whether emotionally, financially, or in other ways. Constantly bringing up your financial status, especially if you're doing better than your partner or potential partner, can create a toxic dynamic where the man feels like he's constantly in competition or struggling to measure up. This isn't just about the money, it's about how you make him feel. Men want to feel respected for who they are, not for how much they bring to the table financially. At the same time, if you're making more money than he is, or if you have more assets, constantly talking about your financial success could unintentionally make him feel small or insignificant. It's not about being boastful, but the way it's presented can easily come across as condescending. You may not intend for it to sound that way, but when you constantly highlight your financial success, it can make him feel like he's not enough in that area, which can damage his confidence and self-esteem. On the flip side, if you're in a relationship with a man who's financially well off and you're not doing as well, constantly discussing your financial struggles or comparing them to his success can also create tension. If he feels like you're dependent on him to solve your financial problems, it can create an unhealthy power dynamic in the relationship. Men don't want to feel like they are being relied upon just for their money, and women, too, want to feel like their partner sees them for who they are, not just for what they can offer financially. Additionally, constantly discussing your money can distract from the core aspects of a relationship, the emotional and personal connection. When you constantly focus on financial topics, you risk losing the true intimacy that forms the foundation of a strong relationship. Relationships are about much more than just money. They are about shared values, mutual respect, emotional connection, and trust. If finances are always the focal point of the conversation, it can make the relationship feel transactional rather than emotional. It may also make him feel like you see him as an ATM rather than a partner, and that's not the kind of relationship anyone wants. Money can also be a sensitive topic, not just for you, but for him as well. There are men out there who may be struggling financially, even if they don't show it. If he feels that his financial situation doesn't measure up to yours, he may begin to question his worth or feel self-conscious. By not constantly discussing your financial status, you give him the space to express himself freely without feeling like he's being judged or evaluated based on his income. The goal should be to create a space where both partners feel comfortable sharing their goals, dreams, and challenges without feeling like one's financial status is being put under a microscope. Furthermore, the act of constantly discussing money can sometimes shift the focus away from the true essence of the relationship. Instead of nurturing the emotional connection, focusing too much on finances can turn the relationship into a series of transactions, which defeats the purpose of love and partnership. True love doesn't revolve around who makes more or who pays for what. It's about the emotional investment, the shared experiences, and the way you support and grow together as a team. If finances are consistently in the conversation, it can overshadow everything else that's important. Another reason why talking about your financial success can backfire is that it may create unrealistic expectations. If he knows how much you make, he might feel the pressure to meet or exceed your financial standards. This can put unnecessary strain on the relationship. It can lead to situations where one person feels overwhelmed by the idea of keeping up, and this pressure can make things harder than they need to be. Relationships should thrive on understanding, support, and compromise, not on a constant race to keep up with each other financially. In summary, while it's important to be honest and transparent in a relationship, your financial situation should be kept private, especially early on. It's crucial to remember that a relationship is built on mutual respect, emotional connection, and shared experiences. Talking too much about money can shift the focus from these vital aspects and create insecurities and misunderstandings. Whether you're doing well financially or struggling, it's better to focus on the personal connection and trust between you and your partner. Rather than turning your relationship into a financial assessment, let your love be about who you are as individuals, not about the dollar signs in your bank account.